the channel. My name is Crawford. This is Virginia's Fellow Riders. We're working on the Mazda. We're trying to get this thing to where we can drive it to a show in 2 weeks. Meaning I have this weekend and next weekend to work on it. And then sometime during the week. But, you know, if you've been here before, I don't really get time during the week to get things done. And I usually end up doing a crunch of trying to jam as much work into Saturday evening and probably most of the day Sunday, because normal ADD activities where you put off everything that you need to do until the last second and you jam it all together. But that's what we're doing. To get to that show, I have some things that I need to do to make this legal, like mounting a license plate and maybe filling in some body panel holes. As you can see, we need to try to make the tailgate fit. I have a Chinese repop tailgate off of eBay in that box over there. So, if they fit too well, but we're going to try and see. I have, which I did show these about, I don't know, feels like 8 months ago. I have the fresh door panels, freshly recovered, when I got the seat recovered with the same material. So I need to make these fit. I didn't specify to the man that I wanted new door cards on the inside, so he reused them, and I don't have new clips that I know of. So I need to see if I can dig through all of my junk, find some clips that will work, and we'll see if we can get these mounted up and make it to where I have an actual door handle and a way to roll the windows up and you don't hear all of that going down the road. I need to make it hold a license plate, which I shot my ideas back and forth with y'all during the comments last week. And I think we have that figured out. So it's going to be some sheet metalage going on here. This doesn't need to be done, but I would like some creature comforts, such as the door panels and things to work to drive this for potentially hours. For the first time in about 2 years, I purchased it. It sat for months. It's been down in pieces for over a year. We got it running recently, and I'm just rambling, so we're just going to jump straight into work. It is 10 o'clock or 10:40, I think, on Saturday. Like I said, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but we're out here regardless, making progress. We're going to cut some stuff up, weld some stuff together, and see if it looks good. And if it doesn't, we'll cut it apart and make it again. And I'm going to stop rambling, like I said minutes ago. As you can see, I haven't been out here all week long, and I haven't cleaned up my mess from last week because it has been over 95 degrees almost every single day. And I don't know about y'all, but when you work in 95-degree weather all day long, it is really hard to come home and find motivation to do anything that is physical labor. I don't know. But I got the pieces that we trimmed up last week. I'm going to try and sandblast this. I really hope that this material comes out a little more usable than what we got right now. We will modify this guy, hopefully get this at least tacked together, maybe pull the pan off tomorrow, cut it somewhere and try and get this tacked into that guy. And then I think after we sandblast this, we'll bounce around, do our normal ADD thing, and try to get the door panels attached maybe. It's pretty late. I'm terribly tired. We went to my buddy's house, hung some drywall in his garage, because his garage was like a dungeon from how dark it was and how hot it is. So I was a little beat, but I'm going to throw these things in there. I really need to clean this thing out too. There's a lot of things on my list that I need to get done. Like the window that I bought probably 2 years ago to replace this because you can't see through it. So if you didn't catch last week's episode, this right here is what this panel looked like from the factory. I'm assuming it's some kind of European license plate or some other country is why they make this opening so massive. So we're gonna shorten that up. So I sandblasted all my lines off, but the idea was to make it smaller. So I think to make this easier and to reutilize this little square, what I'm going to do is, since I have two of these guys, and it really doesn't matter, these are in kind of rough shape. Yeah, this one's ripped anyway. So my idea here was take this light and use this. Instead of having the two, we'll go with the one. Line up the holes so that guy fits back in that place. So now, instead of having the two, we got the one. It tells us what our distance needs to be. Scribed line is kind of squiggly, but it really doesn't matter. It's straight enough. Nice shiny scribe line there. So we know where to make our cut. Go ahead and trim this real quick. And then we will get the TIG welder out and start tacking this thing together. Well, it is now 12:08, but we are looking pretty good. Got a little bit of a small bow that I gotta hammer and dolly, but it's really not bad. Like it is pretty straight. Just a little bit more beating and banging will be good. And this looks pretty cool. Way cooler than that unnecessarily long thing that was on there before. The light will fit in there. Yeah, I like where this is going. I think I'm going to give up tonight. I am beat. And we will come back out here in the morning and probably bounce around maybe to the interior. And then maybe back to the roll pan. And then who knows? Man, I look extremely tired. Been a long day. But see you in the morning. All right, we are back out in the garage. We're going to see if we can get something done today. I'm going to start by making these door panels fit again. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they go on without any major issues. The driver's side one, it looks like I have 90% of the clips, so we'll see. Really disappointing that he didn't think to just make me a new piece of flimsy wood. If I would have known, I would have just brought a flimsy piece of wood with all the holes cut in it already, but it is what it is, I guess. Too late now. I got to see if I can find all my pieces, and that definitely sucks that he reused that, but it doesn't look bad. Looks pretty cool. So I'm not positive what I did with all the hardware, but I did find the armrest and the release handles. I'm gonna see if we can get some of the grime off of these things. These trucks have about 30 different shades of gray in the interiors. It seems like I don't know if they outsourced and then just whoever was willing to make them, they said, yeah, gray is gray, that's what we're going with. Because almost none of the gray in the truck matches anything. None of the grays match, that's what I should say. So after this is all dry, you can see how this is kind of like chalky looking. Same thing with the window cranks. They have that weird chalky haze to them. This doesn't work on every type of plastic, so do a test spot. I did this with four-wheeler and dirt bike fairings back in the day, and it's pretty straightforward. You don't want to use a really high flame, like a torch, like a big torch, but if you run over them real quickly, brings them back to a somewhat respectable look. Do not want to stay on one spot for too long, or you will melt the plastic and it'll get nasty. That's it. Nice and one color, no chalk. I gotta see if I can find the rest of the hardware for these guys. I think I found the right bolts. I took these door panels apart quite a long time ago. So I don't have it 100% yet. I still have to wire in the radio. I still have to run speaker wires. I still have to wire up an amp. I have there's a good bit more wiring that has to be fished in there, but I got it tied up to where whenever most likely James is riding with me, he doesn't rip wires out of the places they need to be. So we can actually get the carpet laid in here. I can put the glove box back together. I can put the steering column back together. The door panels are on, and I like it. Looks good. I want to get all this cleaned up and see what it looks like all together rather than crap everywhere. So I'm going to do that real quick and check back in. It is looking pretty good in here. I can't find all the hardware to put the glove box door back on, so just got a little tape on there for now. But I think everything's fitting pretty well. It is turning out pretty much exactly the way I thought it would. The carpet isn't the right color. It looks better outside for some reason. Every time I bring it in the garage, it looks green. But out in the sun, it doesn't look green. I don't know if it's the LEDs in here or something. I like it though. I was gonna say we'll take it for a cruise to the gas station, but I don't have wiper blades. And that just started, so we'll just keep on working, bouncing around. I think I'm gonna pull the roll pan off. Let's see how close that thing we made yesterday will be to actually fitting this. I'm not sure if I have enough room to actually put the tailgate on, since I can't move the truck forward or sideways or anything. But I might try and put the tailgate on. We'll see how far we get with that. I don't know if that thing has hinges attached to it either, so if it doesn't, most likely we're not going to do that. One thing I do want to do, and I think about it every time I drive this thing now, is mount this somewhere. Give it a home to where it can go back in instead of me setting it down and then it just doing one of these numbers and me trying to find it while I'm driving. I am a traditional, I don't know, toggle switch kind of guy, like a Peterbilt Kenworth style switch. I kind of still want to put some in here as a secondary option besides the little plastic switch box. This switch box isn't bad. I'm not going to say it's bad in any way, but I don't know, I just don't like the way it feels. I like an actual regular switch, like I put in everything that I've ever built. So it might get my standard Virginia license plate switch box eventually. I'll post a picture, or I might even have a clip of me raising the Caprice up and down. Everything that I've ever built for myself, I put that same switch box in, and I feel like it's only right to continue to do that because it's kind of my thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm rambling. We just need to get back to work. It is not pretty right now, but we have the tag thing welded to the roll pan. It's, of course, needs to be cleaned up a lot, but that is kind of warm right now. So we're going to bounce around and do something else. I've had this idea. I've seen something similar online. We are going to turn the unused cigarette lighter hole and turn that into something else today. That's the plan. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to modify. I went through all of my junk cars out there, and I found one cigarette lighter thing. So we're going to cut this apart and turn it into something hopefully cooler. We can talk. I'm just going to speed through this or whatever.
You said that one time, and then you literally put our whole conversation in the
All right. Do one of these. And hopefully guess the same size on this side. Throw it on the ground. It's gonna be a little tricky welding that to the other thing with it being as thin as it is. $30 amps, maybe? We got James trying to figure out what we just made. And the glove box keeps opening because I don't have the hardware in it.
Oh, I like that. That fixes it.
Yeah. It's a little tight in here.
I'm fat. Okay. So if you stick this in the hole.
Yep.
And get electrocuted.
Well, I took the...
Oh, it's a switchbox holder. That's why you drilled the hole for the...
Ah.
I like that.
Yeah, simple.
You know, if you had...
I was off on my bottom bend a little bit, so I gotta bend it again.
You could have just bought one of those.
Yeah, but I made that one in like 15 minutes.
No, that looks good.
I gotta open up my bend on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. That's slick, though. I like that.
Yeah,
I was wondering...
bring the corners in some.
Because I've always had, like, the AVS boxes. They're huge.
Yeah, this box is kind of cheesy, but...
It's kind of small. Like, I feel like I'd lose it over the seat.
I'm gonna get my pliers. Just bring the bottom out a little bit.
Just need you.
And then the sides are gotta go in on the bottom. A little fine tunage here. Let's see. Just a little more. I was hoping to do this to where I didn't have to have anything like actually hold the box. It just kind of sat there. And every time I squeeze the ends, this thing curls up in the middle.
Sure do make my toes curl.
Ooh, oofta. I don't want to go too far.
I They made like really, like real slim magnets,
Yeah, I thought about that. That's
like at the top.
the phone mount that I have in the Lincoln.
Oh yeah, the
Ha-
little slim.
has just a circle that glues to the back of the phone. That's a piece of metal. I thought about that and put it in the vents, but the vents are so brittle because the
Oh,
plastic's so old, it
it
just
would
break.
Yeah, these things you literally cough wrong and they break off.
That's why I figured I don't use a cigarette lighter.
You're not gonna pick up a habit. Oh, I like
Oh.
that.
I have to. The bottom's still not out enough. Okay, we're just going for it.
And you can always squeeze it back if you go too much.
Might have to like. I don't want to put Velcro on it, but I want it to be very minimal.
Yeah, because you don't want it sticking out.
It's hard to squeeze the one side without mashing the other side.
Or the box.
Yeah, or the box.
You just start hearing the plastic crack. You're like, oh, shit.
That'll work. A little refining whenever I go to paint it, but it's strong enough where you can push up and down without it like coming out of the cigarette thing.
And this truck rides so smooth, you don't have to worry.
Oh yeah, like a Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Oh, almost like I just gotta figure out. Like if it's seated all the way down in there, it doesn't tip forward. I don't know. Not bad for some junk.
I like it. Only cost me $150.
I saved myself $150. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this weekend. I think we made pretty good progress. We got the interior like 80% back together. No stereo or anything yet, but it's looking pretty complete. I'm happy with it. The little switch box holder turned out pretty cool. Like James was saying, you really don't even notice it in there unless you point it out. I gotta find something to do with the wiring, but it's not bad. Easy. Doesn't fall off the dash when you're jamming buttons. We got the roll pan sort of on the way to being finished. We didn't get to the tailgate because, again, it's raining outside and there's not enough room to open it to get the bolts and stuff in there. But regardless, it's not bad. But again, I don't know if you've ever been here before, but do all the normal YouTube-y things with the subscribes and likes and whatnot. We post new videos every single Sunday. So check back in next Sunday. We're going to get this thing, we have to get it to where basically I can just hop in it and drive it an hour away. Because that's the plan for the following week. So all this week, if I take the truck out, I'll probably bring the camera with me and we're going to do some cruising. Try and get some miles down on this thing. See if we can shake out any weird mishaps before we just cannonball it to attitude check. So thanks for watching. I will see you next Sunday.